Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Sunrise Show. Craig Froelich in, 48 minutes after the hour, about 37 degrees. I guess we've made it past that freeze warning that the National Weather Service had put out this morning up until 9 a.m. But you're set. Commissioner Breidenthal is here. He's taking notes. So he's... well, let me get your mic on. There we go. Good.
Good morning, Craig.
Good
morning. Good to see you.
Yeah, you're. It's great to have you in. We weren't scheduled. I mean, you're early, so look at that, ladies and gentlemen. An elected official, early and on time.
Well, it's the least we could do.
It's the least we could do. Well, we've got all kinds of things happening. You probably will. I don't know if you'll have any comment or not, but this mining issue out in Galice in Josephine County, and I'm trying to get to my press release that came out yesterday. The media is not there. Really what's happening is the Oath Keepers have taken up as a security force out and holding everyone else, trespassers, at bay so that the mining team, the claim holders, can speak with BLM and Josephine County Sheriff agents as needed so that their Fifth Amendment rights will not be incriminated upon. And that's the... of course, that Fifth Amendment is due process, and that I read that Fifth Amendment on the air a little while ago. And to protect that due process of law, there's been a claim by the BLM that the miners are out of compliance and that they should cease and desist. And the Josephine County Sheriff Dave Daniels went and, possibly his agent, his deputy, the BLM agent, delivered that information, and there was a thought that there might be a dust-up, if you would, some type of, mainly because BLM said, well, possibly if you're not in compliance, we'll take down the whole mining operation. And, of course, this is a mining claim that dates back to the 1870s. So, anyway, interesting concept there, but protecting their rights under the Fifth Amendment.
Well, there's a whole plethora of laws that revolve around mining and the mining laws, and it's amazing how many individual rights those miners actually have that are specialized, because mining has been so important to the country, and the use of those natural resources have been so important to the country over the years that laws that had to be created to protect those miners. So I think what's happening here is and I'm seeing it happen in more than just the Galice area. I'm hearing a lot of different things where we're seeing Fish and Wildlife putting rules and regulations in place, and basically the Endangered Species Act is putting rules and regulations in place that may or may not have a overlay or an impact on some of the mining laws, and the miners are saying, wait a second, we're under this law over here. And it's almost a parody in my mind with some of the timber issues that are going on as we look at O&C and stuff like that, because much older act, that land was set aside, 1.2 million acres, give or take, for the production of timber and for the use of this country, basically, to be able to provide lumber for homes and everything else. So it's the same concept with those mining laws, and it's the same conflict with the same agencies and same newer laws that are coming into play. So that ties in with that concept of the supremacy with the ONC, with the same thing with the mining laws. I think some of those cases are going to be heard. I know the home builders had a supremacy case that they did a few years back, and they in the Supreme Court, and the supremacy stuck, and the newer subsequent laws did not apply. So if that trend continues, maybe the miners should take a look at some of protecting some of their mining laws through legal action.
Well, it's interesting because their rights are federally granted to them.
Correct.
And yet you have a federal entity as the BLM trying to smack down, and the mining rights existed before the BLM was ever...
Well, that's why I'm saying there's a bunch of laws that revolve around mining that a lot of people don't really understand. And BLM is very good at that, so I would actually want to know what the compliance was, first of all. What are they out of compliance of?
Exactly.
You know, and are they stacking up materials? Are they building structures without putting in some kind of bond? What's the issue?
Well, and so at this point, they don't want. I mean, some tried to make it sound like that Clive Bundy case down in Nevada, but that's not the case at all. It is a quiet and peaceful, but they're just saying no trespassers, and they want to make sure that their Fifth Amendment
their ability to
due
have due
process.
process.
Absolutely,
No one
rather
encroaches on
than encroachment and shut down and lock the roads and those type of things. So,
Well, that's interesting because I've had several mining claims in my lifetime. Some nice claims actually, and what I found on those particular claims is I couldn't keep people out. People could not mine on them, but they were still open for public access. So it would depend on how the claim was established.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, we have Commissioner Doug Breidenthal from Jackson County in the studio this morning, and tying in with what's going on in Josephine County. It's pretty interesting, and I've got a couple of press releases that we'll read. We've got to get to a break coming up here, but so much going on. We'll talk about probably what's going on. The airport, their numbers are up. That's good. And, I mean...
it's amazing. Numbers are up, flights are down.
Interesting.
But there's a really good explanation for that, and people are going to go, well, that makes sense. But we'll get back to that in just a few minutes.
Yeah, let's do that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Sunrise Show on News Radio 880 KCMX. Sunrise with Craig. I'm Craig Froenig, your host, your humble host for the day. And the Veterans Breakfast over at Punky's Diner and Pies is just getting going. Starts about 8:15. If you're planning on getting in there, well, get there early. You may have just enough time to grab a seat. The Bloomberg Market Update is next, right here on News Radio 880 KCS.
Let me have your attention for a moment.
Stay calm.
What is it?
What is it?
A life form of its own.
Head straight for him!
Be afraid.
The voice on the radio.
More than just a man.
This is something much
Everything will be all right.
more dangerous.
Stand by to transmit.
Receiving you. Over.
Now hear this.
Buckle your seatbelt.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sunrise Show. Craig Froenig is your host. As your humble host, glad to be here. Glad you're tuned in. You can find us on the web, kcmxam.com, and the phone number for the studio, the call-in line, the hotline, 541-772-8255, 772-TALK. And, of course, we're always happy to take your phone calls. And if you want to email me and stay behind the scenes, well, that's okay, too. Craig at radiomedford.com. I get a lot of emails that way with your issues and things. So much coming up. We've got Jackson County Commissioner Doug Breidenthal in the studio this morning. We're going to be talking to him about the Jackson County budget. They've come up with a figure. They've come up with a number. So we'll see what's going on with that. It's a pretty big number, too. I'm getting the look. Here
I'm going to call you on that one. Not big. It's for great reasons.
Oh, well, okay. All
if
right.
you're going to have a big number, these are the reasons you want a big number.
Okay, good. See, I knew I was going to call him out on that. But we'll talk about that. And then also, they're going to decide the marijuana tax rate. So that hasn't been decided yet in Jackson County. We'll probably cover that a little bit. And it is tax day. And if you happen to catch the parody from Michael Bolton, maybe I'll replay that at the end of the hour if you missed it. How do you survive without me? And oh boy, there was a pretty good reference in there. I saw this. This is just the latest survey, and it's the 6 ways that people will use their tax refund. The average tax refund this year is $2,815. And I'm wondering, how did they do that, considering line 61 and form 8965, the Health Authority liability, and we talked about that this morning, those 2 pages, well, page 5 and 6 out of the 12-page instruction booklet for 8965. If you are on your own...
You're starting to talk like an IRS agent.
Well, just because I'm a good American taxpayer and trying to do what's right, but I have never seen these forms before. It's unbelievable. This is the first year, and to count the X's, it's craziness. Anyway, the 6 ways people will use their tax refund. Let's see. Number 6, 1% will buy something for their kids. 1% will go on a shopping spree. 2% will put it towards buying a home. 31% will pay off debt. Good job, Americans. 32% will put it into savings, and 33% will spend it on a vacation. That $2,800, that's a little savings account, gained no interest. Had to talk with my 21-year-old daughter. I said, don't let the IRS keep your money for a full year with no interest. She didn't understand that part, but maybe she does now, so I don't know.
She's still looking at it as a bonus check at the end of the year.
That's what I think. I think, they'd rather have it up front. She'd rather save it. Anyway, more in the Sunrise Show. We've got Jackson County Commissioner Doug Breidenthal in the studio this morning. We're going to be talking about all kinds of things. We'll take your calls after the break.
Shout, I'm talking to you, so come on. Shout.
Good morning, everybody. 18 minutes after the hour. Welcome to the Sunrise Show. Craig Fronick, and I want to welcome on to the program Jackson County Commissioner Doug Breidenthal. And thank you, sir, for coming in.
Anytime.
Appreciate it. Well, I know you're very busy traveling and the commissioner and the county duties and things like that, but it's great to have you in. So I made a comment earlier, numbers at the Jackson County Airport. Burn Case has got to be happy. I mean, foot traffic is up, but you said flights are down. What's up with that?
Air traffic and passenger flights are way up right at an all-time high. Flights coming in and out of Medford are actually way down. Now, why would that happen? The planes are bigger. It's simple. They can't take smaller planes anymore. We no longer see the 30 or 60 passenger planes. We're seeing the larger planes, so they're scheduling flights that'll take a lot more people in and out. So we're on track and growing that airport. Burns doing such a wonderful job.
So less regional jets, which are the 30, 60 seat planes, and more of the 727s and 737s.
Well, you're seeing more larger jets that are carrying more passengers. I think that's the safest way to say it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say which ones are using. I don't work for the airlines.
No, I get that.
I don't want to get in trouble.
No, you're right. And I am seeing larger jets coming in, and they're. I'm glad to see it, and Burns been working on getting the ramps built.
That airport, from my lifetime, from what I saw when I was a child and what I'm seeing today are two different things. And it is amazing how we are growing, and we are becoming the hub of Southern Oregon. We really are the hub of Southern Oregon, and that is a good way to say it.
The fire suppression and fighter, tanker base here and also Illinois Valley.
Mm-hmm. And Klamath Falls, don't forget Klamath.
And Klamath, correct. And with the heavy lift, consortium here, with all of the heavy lift, I guess helicopters. Are we ready for whatever fire suppression we are going to need? Because catastrophic wildfire with this drought coming. I mean, California, no snowpack now.
Well, I think we are always ready. One thing about Southern Oregon when it comes to fire protection, and especially in the wildland, we are some of the best in the nation when it comes to that. It happens year-round. We don't know when or where or how, but Southern Oregon and Northern California are known for their ability to be able to do wildfire because it is so predominant in our area.
I mean, U.S. Senator Ron Wyden and Jeff Merkley, but Ron Wyden especially, they've been over to the firefighting team there in Idaho, and they approved an extra $500 million or whatever it was in firefighting.
Well, what's funny is it's very simple. If Senator Wyden wanted to do anything to get something done here, he would start looking at the federal budgets as it pertains to wildfire, because basically the Forest Service pays for it out of their pocket. They'd start moving these wildfire budgets into the FEMA natural disaster and treat it just like a hurricane, treat it just like a flood or anything else. because these wildfires are not something that are man-made. Lightning comes in, starts the fires, and it's the fact that they don't manage these forests like they need to. They're so overstocked that there's just a big tinderbox. So, but those dollars are sucking the life out of the Forest Service and taking away all the prevention dollars. So everything's going for active fire management and taking away prevention dollars. So if they would just recategorize those things as a natural disaster, move it over to the appropriate budget line item, and then allow the Forest Service and BLM to use those dollars for prevention, we could get back into a cycle where we would actually have a safe and secure forest, even in a drought where we wouldn't have these fires.
You know, I want to talk about the county budget, but I want to tag off of this comment with the ONC lands and this Land Grant Act of 2013 that Senator Ron Wyden, but it hasn't come through. Nothing has come through.
Those are done. They're over with. They're not coming back. Senator Wyden's Land Grant Act is dead, and for good reason. I'm glad to see that personally. We did just pass the SRS package, Secure Rural Schools. It came in the Doc Fix bill. That came through the Senate last night. So the House passed it. It passed through the Senate with a minor amendment heading back to the House, but it's on a technical issue, as I understand it. So the schools, our kids are going to start getting their money again, and the money will come back to the local governments sometime about 45 days after the president signs it into law.
Well, I wonder now, with the good work that, Congressman Walden did, the 1526, H.R. 1526 with Walden, DeFazio, and Schrader.
Their 1526 died with the last Congress. Representative Bishop.
And they passed it twice.
Well, the Senate, Senator Wyden had that ability to help move it through the Senate. He chose not to for his own reasons. I don't know why. And so neither did Senator Merkley. He chose not to move it, neither one of them. So with that being said, I know Representative Bishop, the House subcommittee member for Natural Resources, has given indication or he's flat said that he's going to come out with a complete package for forest restoration, basically land use packages there, and he's going to take those on a broader scale, and it's going to be 1526-ish, but a few less horse pills in it, so maybe it'll move to the Senate now. Remember, the Senate is new. It's changed. It's not the same dynamics that it was in the last Congress. So let's see what they can get done. I mean, frankly, everybody said, Boehner will never, the SRS packages in the first quarter, that'll never happen. And look what Boehner did. I mean, he delivered. And Congress Walden, they delivered just like they promised. I mean, and that's the first time I've seen this happen in this Congress in a long time.
Yeah, the Secure Rural Schools Act, they passed it because it was part of the Medicare piece, and they put it through. Okay, good. But it's amazing to me, and our break's coming up right now, but that the 2 years worth of effort that Congressman Greg Walden, Schrader, and DeFazio put together, and Congressman Walden told me, he said, Craig, I burned a lot of brownie points to get this onto the floor and get those votes, and it sat and went through twice, and then for it to just die.
It's frustrating, but look at it like this. He laid the foundation for what's about ready to come in this current Congress.
Oh, I hope so.
And I really believe that to be the case right now.
Wow. We got a quick break. The Bloomberg Market Update is next. Sunrise with Craig on News Radio 880 KCMX. We'll be back after that, along with Jackson County Commissioner Doug Breidenthal after the break. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. 35 minutes after the hour. Happy tax day, all you folks out there. Sorry about that abrupt thing. Coming back in, the Sunrise Show on News Radio 880 KCMX and Jackson County Commissioner Doug Breidenthal.
Isn't that an oxymoron? Happy tax day? Really? Happy tax day? Couldn't come up with anything better than happy tax day?
Well, I guess you're right. We shall endure, I guess.
The endurance day. There you go.
Exactly. So we wanted to talk about budget. We talked about land use and what's happening there, and that there is some changes. Carl Wilson, he's put together his task force on the transfer of federal land ownership. That's House Bill 3240. We don't know if that'll go through or not, but the Jackson County budget is going up, but yet there's a reason for that. You said $308 million.
We're $306 million from last year to about $326 million this year. We just started the budget hearings yesterday, so nothing's finalized at this point in time. But from what we've been seeing so far with round one, it's all because we are putting it into savings ending fund balances. This is a positive thing. Even when you have extra money, you still have to account for it. So so the budget, the fact that there's approximately... You have to balance everything. Yeah, so there's approximately $20 million or so, because the process is still going on right now, but that doesn't mean it's being spent. We're not spending that kind of money.
That's the amount of money that exists.
That's the amount of money that exists, but that does not mean that we're spending that amount of money. And that's the key part there. We are spending actually less money for government today than we did 5 years ago.
Well, yeah, because you'd mentioned once before that personnel had gone from 900 and some odd down to...
About 8.5. We were over 1,100 there at one point, and down to about 8.5. It's come up a little bit as the Health and Human Services, Obamacare went into implementation, but the budget is, we're spending less money today. We got our audit from Moss Adams here recently. Incredible audit. Basically saying almost perfection in government.
Glowing reports.
Beautiful concepts. We're
best in the state.
We're not really budgeting on one-time monies. So if we look at timber revenue, we really can't rely on it. So we don't really put it into our budget as we move forward. And I have to say, Mr. Jordan is doing an incredible job with that type of work. And Harvey Bragg, the deputy administrator, both of those guys are just financial wizards when it comes to that type. So we are in a spot here, from as I'm seeing this budget process unfold, that we're going to be in a really good position. And in this process, it was announced yesterday that we are, in this budget, we're looking at a new district attorney's office.
I saw that, right.
A new...
Now, when we had Beth Heckert in, she said that it's very interesting how that works, because it's half funded and some comes from the state. It's very interesting how that whole budget for the district attorney's office, they don't give us a lot.
Well, no, the county pays for all this stuff. The only thing about Beth's position is her position, because she is the agent of the state, she has to prosecute on behalf of the state. The state pays for the large portion of her salary.
Okay, that's
the county subsidizes her salary with a piece on top of that, because we want somebody who's a competent district attorney. So we're going to pay for somebody good. But everything else, all of the
brick and mortar, everything.
The brick and mortar, the maintenance of the brick and mortar, all the deputy district attorneys, all the rest of the staff over there is all paid for out of county dollars. Even the subsidy. The only piece that's paid by the state is a little piece.
I know. Isn't that funny that just the district attorney is subsidized by this? I mean, a portion of it's paid.
That's one thing I'm working on with the state. I've talked to the attorney general on this particular issue and said, why? They're prosecuting on behalf of the state, not behalf of the county. Why do I have to front the bill?
And my question would be, Commissioner, would be that what about all the deputy district attorneys?
That's
what about
I'm saying.
Their salaries?
The whole program. Why does that have to come out of county taxpayers' dollars when it's frankly on behalf of the state? They're filing for state laws.
Right.
These are state laws that they are enforcing and regulating and prosecuting.
I mean, if you look at the legal documents, it says state versus whatever. So.
Yeah.
Well, we're hit up with a break. We got more on the Sunrise Show. Well, I guess we'll continue. Can you stick around?
We talked about the district attorneys, but we're also doing a justice court out in Central Point also.
Oh, very good.
So 2 new pieces of building.
But you're still safe, even though the budget's higher. That means that there's earnings there, right? I mean let's cover that when we come back. We've got Commissioner Doug Breidenthal on the program this morning. More on the health of Jackson County when we come back. The Sunrise Show will return. ABC Sports about 4 minutes out. The Sunrise Show, Sunrise with Craig, back after this. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. 47 minutes after the hour on the Sunrise Show. Craig Fornick in, and continuing with Commissioner Doug Breidenthal from Jackson County. You know, we didn't get to finish this budget chat, and we're running out of time, but I've got just enough time to kind of wrap that up because you're in the process.
Right.
And this is interesting, ladies and gentlemen. 306, 308 on the last year's budget, and fifth in the state as far as size and budget.
The size of the county is about fifth largest county. But what I need to say, and what people need to understand, is when we look at reserve accounts, we're second largest reserve accounts in the state of Oregon. We're the strongest, more than likely, on the financial side as a whole picture because we're paying our bills forward. And we're changing the way we do things from just saying, okay, we're going to do it off tax dollars only. No, we're doing different. We're making revenue off of like our health and human services as well, about $1.3 million a year. Our new jail beds that we put in place, we're making $1 million+ a year on that type of revenue. So that you're $2.5 million of new additional revenue that's not tax dollars that's being put into our budget. So as we see the money coming in, it's basically business practices that we're doing at a county level that we're saying that we're going to run it like a business and not rely just on taxation. So as commissioners, we've met and we've discussed this, and one of the things that we'd like to see at this point is try to get that rainy day fund back up to $100 million.
Because it was at about 80, and now it went down to around 6 or 8.
Right now we're back up to about 20 plus, but if you look at all of the different pieces, we have about $50 million in reserves on our general fund, give or a little less, with $20 million about on the rainy day side. But we want to get it back up to the $100 million because, frankly, Shannon Bell, our treasurer, is doing a phenomenal job on keeping that money, making money for us. The state average on the pool is only about 0.5%, and she's doing it about 1.5, which is 3 times the state average. So it's really smart for us to get that money built up and then use the proceeds after we get that $100 million mark to be able to, the interest on that, to find ways to reduce taxation in Jackson County.
How much interest would that actually,
it depends on the market.
Lot.
It really depends on the market. You're talking 1.5 to 5% on a good year of interest on $100 million. That can produce a lot of money that can be used to lower taxes here in Jackson County.
Now, you've had some relief because the library district, they're on their own, was around $6 million.
Yeah,
and that additional, and the taxing from Jackson County will take care of that. And I know they just got a new contract to restaff the library, I guess renewed or whatever.
The district is doing their stuff.
Yeah, which is good. Other things that the county, I guess you're hands-on with the budget process. That's being worked through. When will that resolve? When will we find out?
We should have that. I anticipate if it goes smoothly, we should have it done by Thursday. So we're not like the state where we take a year to be able to get our budget done.
This marijuana tax piece, this is kind of a big deal. People wanted to make sure that we're going to get rid of the black market. Is this going to be over taxation?
Well, not necessarily, no, because what we're doing right now it'll be before the Board of Commissioners today at our general meeting. We're going to be discussing setting that tax rate and where it's going to be. The board order that's in front of us to look at or consider is going to take and recommend that it goes to 0 on the sales and put a stay on the production tax. So what that would do is it gives us time to look at what the inventory is out there. Where are all these grow sites? Because we really don't know. So we put this in place because we wanted to try and figure out what the black market was. And until we get that assessment, we don't know. Because frankly, the black market is coming out of the medical marijuana industry.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Anybody
absolutely.
that says medical marijuana is just pure medicine and it's just that home use pure medicine, no, that is our black market for marijuana today. And then we also have to develop the infrastructure in Jackson County. We have to figure out how to get the assessment piece put together and how to put the taxation enforcement piece in place so that we can get rid of that black market. The other part of that is we have to start looking at state laws. So by putting what's the state going to be doing in this
right.
session right now? So by putting it at 0 and holding off on doing any taxation on it allows us to spool up this program, get an idea of what's out there, figure out how to manage this in such a way that we don't overtax it, but yet put enough regulation in place to eliminate that black market. And frankly, the state is not going to fund us at the level we need locally to be able to fight marijuana.
Jackson County, it's going to cost Jackson County to to deal with the services, the mental health, the enforcement.
I can go on and on and on of the costs of marijuana, the legalization of marijuana in Jackson County, and the state, under their taxation program, is not going to be able to provide enough money to be able to make it pay for itself.
You know what's amazing?
That's why we need some kind of local revenue on it, so people don't waste their home tax dollars, their property tax dollars, subsidizing marijuana.
What's interesting, Doug, is that you take the other 35 counties. I mean, there's 36 counties in the state, and if they're having the same problem and they're financially strapped.
Well, this is the kind of forward thinking why Jackson County is in such a good, positive financial position, because we're the only county that actually asked their voters, is this something you want to tax? Is this what you want to do? So right now, Jackson County is the only county in the state that has the ability to tax medical and non-medical marijuana.
Unbelievable.
No one else did it.
Because
and they're financially strapped, but now they're going to have those financial burdens of this going on from the impacts of Measure 91 and no way to pay for it. And the state's going to be their typical partner and say, well, it's going to take $10, but we're only going to give you $5. You got to come up with the other $5 to pay for that.
Unbelievable. Got to leave it there. Commissioner Breidenthal, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much, Doug. Appreciate that. We'll finish up, ladies and gentlemen, Tax Day with a little bit of Michael Bolton as we go on. A little parody from Michael Bolton. Love the guy. Love the song. We'll be back tomorrow morning, bright and shiny, 6 a.m. Join us if you won't.
You will.
If you will. Please, join us.
IRS, you're never going to be anyone's favorite agency. You know that. You're boring. You're unlikable. But here's the thing. Deep down, we need you. We need you like we need our own anus. Because like our anus, we may not love you or like to talk about you or even want to look at you through a series of strategically placed mirrors. But deep down, we're glad you're there. Is that not right, Michael? Tell them about it. Tell them.
Now, I don't want to know what life is like without an anus.
Sing it to them, Michael.